Hello and welcome to Oscar's Lounge. I hope you're enjoying the content I'm providing. I hope it is helping you. I hope you feel encouraged by it. Last time we spoke about and there was blinding lights. But before we continue with this series, I would like to invite you to like, to subscribe, and to share this content with your friends and loved ones. Today, we're continuing from where we left off last week, and the topic for today that we're speaking about, following on from and there was blinding lights, is roast with fire. Remember, I had an encounter, an out of ordinary encounter with the sun, and the blinding lights, the stark brilliance pulled me in, and my lost compass. Remember, I was in search for my lost compass for a transformative encounter. I wanted the call to adventure I was hoping to embark on. I felt lost and I couldn't find my compass to lead me to my North Star. But this encounter, this extraordinary encounter, helped me, captivated me. It pulled me into the energy of the sun, and my lost compass was finally found. I knew the direction I was to follow to find my North Star. My North Star resurfaced and was now leading me, albeit, remember, I did say that the blinding light of the sun, I lost my vision for a few weeks. But even with this partial physical blindness, my true journey that I was called to embark on must begin. My interaction with the sun had evoked a new state of consciousness. The configurations of the constituent parts of my being had shifted. My rational thoughts had been torn apart and reassembled. I came to the realization that I had been living in an animated world grounded by delusion, and I had to detach myself. This realization, this extraordinary encounter, revealed a lot to me. Yes, from the series Epiphanies of Rebirth, I discovered I had to peel through those layers and layers of deceit and the thick wall that I was trapped behind. But this revelation, this personal revelation, the lights, the blinding lights, the colors that I was now able to see that actually went through my being, into my soul, into the inner parts of myself, helped me realize that I had to detach myself from this deluded world, this delusion I was living in. And my new conceived senses, spiritual understanding, and mental perception, they awakened an awareness of the magnitude of my ignorance. Was I just insane? Had the blazing sun roasted my brain? Had my head gone through shock or hyperstimulation? Was my brain simply overwhelmed? Did my brain need some healing? Should I be prescribed a lot of sleep and maybe some medication to restore the impaired cognitive function? Hey, contrary to popular belief, I beg to differ. My whole being was roasted with fire, not just my brain. I had gone through a purification process manifested by the blaze of sunlight burning out the very root of my delusion. You will see from the images of this blog article at oscarslounge.com, you will see myself being roasted, a woman completely consumed by fire. It was a purification process. The blaze of sunlight was burning out the very roots of my delusion. Fire is a form of light. Actually, the first form of light that was discovered by our ancestors, the first men on earth. So I was roasted with light, with fire, and every root of my delusion was consumed in that flame. The impulses, desires, and hostilities of my ego, dictated by culture as old as humanity itself and now intertwined in each trillion cell in my body. Readjusting my impulses could not achieve the desired results. Rather, the unfathomable experience with the sun's blazing light was precisely what my mind and soul needed to extinguish each one of those toxic substances that led to my delusion. Yes, each trillion cell in our body supposed to lead us to our North Star. But the impulses, the desires, the hostilities of our ego, yes, our outer being is our ego, which needs to be caressed. Our ego needs to be fed. Our ego needs to be exalted above itself. But it's dictated by culture, as old as humanity itself. But readjusting my impulses could not achieve the desired results. I needed the sun's blazing lights to burn every dimension of the delusion I was living in. My soul, my mind needed the extinguishing flame to burn off all the toxic substances that led to my delusion. The results of my purification, again, was the birth of my sixth and seventh senses, mental perception and spiritual understanding. And with nurturing over time, these newfound senses will become even more vital than my physical senses. We'll speak more about these senses, these newfound senses that are more vital than my five physical senses. But over time, I would have to nurture them, spiritual understanding, mental perception. These are not physical. These are within us. And we have to awaken our sixth sense, our seventh sense. And just like the seven-pointed star, the heptagram, my mental perception and spiritual understanding, they will become my connection between parallel universes. They will become my natural flow and circuit of energy, and the resulting apotheosis will be peace. I craved peace. Peace is within us. Our ego, feeding our external being, our external self, our outward self with the outward desires, the outward feelings that come and go. That is not what the natural flow is about. The circuit of energy that I received from the sunlight, the blazing sunlight, would result in peace. I had begun a journey of discovery that surpassed the delusions of my formerly assertive, formerly defensive, formerly self-concerned ego. I was on the right path to finding my truth that transcends thoughts, on which my experience of perception, of emotion, of memory, of speech, of knowledge and will and action rode. I was now on the right path. My North Star was guiding me. My lost compass was found. I was on a path to spiritual enlightenment. This was the beginning of my journey, the truth I've been seeking for that transcends thoughts. Our thoughts, what we think most times, is guided by the externalities of this world, the desires for recognition, for fame, for glory, the proud nature that we have come to adopt, comparing ourselves with others, comparing ourselves with our peers, comparing ourselves at the level of possession we have, how much acquiring. That is not the path to finding truth. That's the path of destruction, the path to self-annihilation. Because when you realize that all that you've worked hard for to acquire, the material possessions, when you still feel empty inside, when you feel lost amidst all these possessions, you dig deeper. You have to go back to the source of energy within, the circuit of energy, the natural flow. Just like the sea, you see a natural rhythm, a natural flow. Just look at the birds of the air. Look at the animals around us. They are not consumed. They are in peace. They feed. They don't worry about where their next meal is gonna come from. They don't worry about. They're not consumed. They're not cooked up in their head. They just living every day, roaming around the earth. But us, we are consumed by our self-assertive, self-defensive, self-concerned ego. We don't get to roam. We don't get to see the beauty. We don't get to experience nature. We are stuck in a little hole, an office space, a toxic office space. But I had begun a journey of discovery that surpassed my delusion. I was on the right path to finding my truth that transcended the thoughts that had been fed to me, the Kool-Aid that I had drunk. And I was on a path to discovering the connections between parallel universes that will result in peace, in joy, in contentment, in tranquility. I was consciously stepping into a painless life, allowing my mind to identify and repair its unconscious beliefs. And eventually, I will rest in a state, the true state of harmony. Eventually, I'll come to rest in its true states of harmony with nature. I was consciously stepping, consciously, into a painless life. Remember, I was in so much pain. The darkness had consumed me. I was torn apart. I was cut in chunks. I was scattered abroad. But now, with my North Star directing me, my compass finally found, with the blazing sun burning, extinguishing my delusions, my desires. My ego had been contained. I was now dwelling on the same frequency as nature, the circuit of energy, the natural flow of life, the true state of harmony with nature. I was identifying with it. I was roasted with fire, my whole being, not just my brain. Going back to the scriptures, the Bible, Mark chapter 9, verse 49 says, "For everyone will be seasoned with fire, and every sacrifice will be seasoned with salt." I was seasoned with fire. My whole being had been roasted. I was consciously stepping into a new life, like the seven-pointed star. I was now discovering the parallel. I was coming into a life that was in natural flow and with the frequency of the energy of the sun. Do you need to be roasted with the fire? Do you need to burn every delusion, your desires for material possessions that are only trapping you in a very worrisome state, with anxiety, with fear, and eventually that leads to pain, that leads to suffering? For everyone will be seasoned with fire. And I, finally, with a blazing, roasting sun, with the fire consuming my entire being, not externally, not physically, but within, I was purified by the fire, the burning lights, the blazing lights, the blinding lights. I hope and I pray that you as well go through a personal revelation, an out of ordinary experience where the consuming fire will burn every delusion. You'll be seasoned. You will step into a new life that is in harmony with nature. The natural flow, the natural rhythm of life. The higher self will be discovered. Your higher being, you'll be whole again. That's what I wish for you today. Until next time, like, subscribe, and share the content with your friends and family. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, Roast with Fire. I wish you love. I wish you peace. I wish you the roasting lights, the burning lights, the captivating lights that will burn every level of delusion in each cell of your being. Till next time, bye bye.